This is what we have been waiting for. It's looking really nice out there. So let's get into the market real quick. And about, hey, can we maybe see a correction anytime soon? Maybe by the time the video is out, it's already happening. When should you take your profits? How high could this go? Just want to give you my insights on what's happening in the market right now. We see a very decent pump for Bitcoin. We see a decent pump for the altcoin market, but especially for Ethereum. And we kind of saw this coming, right? I don't want to make this video about like, oh, we called this, but we fucking called this, bro. Like, and this is actually the beginning. And if there are any midterm pullbacks, that's totally fine. Matter of fact, we'll be pretty surprised if that doesn't happen. So let's see how things are looking right now. Because you might look at the charts and be like, oh, it's high, I should sell. Is it really that high? I don't know. I'm Dutch. For me, it's never too high, right? So welcome to the FOMO Factory. If you like the video already, subscribe, turn the bell notification on. Let's get into it. So Bitcoin, $102,000 right now, went as high as around $104,000, seeing a small red candle right now. Completely fine. It's well over 100K, right? And if you think like a couple days ago, it was 93. So that's looking pretty good out there, right? Now, if we look at the altcoin market, others, it's sitting at $260 billion. Now, I remember very, very well when we were sitting here, this low, the FUD was all around you. It was dead. It was different. It wasn't gonna run, right? And these are the moments where you want to buy. That's just like, that's what it is, right? And it turns out that in a month, the altcoin market, the high cap market, pumped with 50% already. That's kind of crazy. And what we are seeing right now, in my opinion, is what alt season is going to look like. And what do I mean by that? We see technically an alt season-ish kind of thing right now, but on a micro base. Right, on a really, really, really micro base. But this is really cool. So let's get into that first. Because we have Bitcoin going up, but while Bitcoin is going up, we see the Bitcoin dominance going down. Right now, the Bitcoin dominance going down is basically where money flows from Bitcoin into, where the rest of the market is outperforming Bitcoin, right? Well, Bitcoin is going up, so it's not getting deployed into USDT and USDC, and we'll also see that the USDT dominance is all going down. So it's getting deployed into something else, and it's mostly Ethereum at this point. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. But we spoke about the Bitcoin dominance sitting really high on the risk levels right now, right? It was sitting at 0.939, and we said not too long ago, like, this is higher than what it has been since 2019. And that was basically the top before we went into alt season, right? 2017, it wasn't even that high. So based on this, only this, like not the expectation of the money flow or the Fed that's gonna stop QT anytime this year or whatever, purely based on this, it's very logical to say like, hey, Bitcoin dominance is just heavily topping out. And it turns out to be that while it's sitting at that point, the Bitcoin dominance is seeing one of the biggest corrections that we have seen in this cycle so far, right? Not by far the biggest correction, but if you look especially over the last couple of months, it was basically up only, right? And it's now going down a bit, but therefore I'm gonna say like, hey, I think that this is really the beginning of this move. But we're now seeing Bitcoin going up and the Bitcoin dominance going down. As an altcoin holder, that's the best thing that you can see. But again, it's happening on micro base. And what do I mean by that? Yeah, very simply, if you look at Bitcoin, you can say whatever you want. It's not some kind of a huge god candle that we are used to, right? It's just a good, strong move to the upside of 6% in a day. And that's a lot for Bitcoin. But we have seen crazier things, right? And also, again, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, like, yeah, it had a pretty decent fall so far, right? But if you zoom out and you compare this to a real alt season, yeah, then this compared to this, I don't know, right? Therefore, I'm gonna say like, hey, this is probably nothing yet. But the market is already showing us like, hey, we can still do it. Like, hey, bears, don't like, it's still like, it could still happen, right? And here you have a little preview of it. The dollar is going up a little bit, which is fine. I mean, the market responds to that, right? So a lot of charts are saying something really nice. However, what we spoke about quite often was Ethereum. And I remember saying like, hey, Ethereum is one of the buys. It's not boring. It's not that. Ethereum is really oversold at this point. And this is like at a level where it hasn't been there much more often. And that was really a golden opportunity, right? And one chart that showed that is the Ethereum dominance, right? Now I want to make it very clear. I don't want to cheer too soon. Because we can have pullbacks, and I will talk about when I think we're going to have a correction. But the market is now showing like, here we go. Liquidity is so low, it takes nothing. I don't even know what the news is. It doesn't matter because the charts were already suggesting this, right? And it shows like, hey, like that, bam, we can go up with Ethereum 20% on a day or whatever. Damn, like that's quite a lot. Right, but if we look at the Ethereum dominance, what you'll notice, again, we were sitting at the same level as what we were sitting in January 2020. Ethereum was $140 right there, and it ran to almost $5,000. We now finally hit that level again. And I said, like, this is a huge level, right? That's an opportunity level. Comes to somewhat of a surprise that it bounces off of this level that hard, right? And it wouldn't surprise me if we see something like what we saw in the last cycle as well, where we have a very strong bounce and then a huge move down again, but eventually making a higher low, which kind of starts the Ethereum run, alt season, the money flow, and all of that, right? This taking out this low from this point, I don't know. It could happen, but in these market conditions, now if you look at the Ethereum stochastic RSI on the weekly, this move kind of just started, right? So again, if you look at it on the 4 hour, heavily overbought, right? So can it go down in the short term? Yes, and I think it will. In the long term, though, this is the tip of the iceberg, I think. Why do I think, though, that we can get a short-term correction? This chart right here shows how stablecoins is getting deployed into Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, etc. Now, it was sitting at this level where it was sitting at January 2023. I don't know if you remember that video, but that when I said that, that was basically when we compared it to the lows of the cycle, basically. And the bounce off of this level so far is incredible, right? Now, I must say that, as you can see, probably, we had resistance at this point from May 2022 until November 2023. Then it was support for a full quarter. And now we're testing it as resistance, right? So can we break through? Yeah. But it would not be weird if we also get a rejection right here and that people take profits at this point, right? Psychologically wise, it would make sense as well. This move, although the move itself was more predictable than anything, in my opinion, but the size of the move, especially for Ethereum, got me a little off guard. I didn't expect Ethereum to run that hard that fast, right? And I think a lot of people didn't expect that. So they will probably be like, whoa, maybe we should take some profits right now, right? Before this is maybe not that sustainable of a candle. So that would not surprise me if we in the coming days see a good correction at this point. And yeah, if you look at Ethereum on the dollar pair, it is sitting at some good resistance right now. So that could definitely be the case. Nevertheless, if you look at Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair as well, Ethereum struggling against Bitcoin is one of the biggest reasons why it didn't go up dollar-wise and why altcoins were also struggling. Right, Ethereum is basically the main liquidity driver for the for half of the whole altcoin space. And if you look how Ethereum was struggling on the shorter time frame, it was just for a month, right? It was getting rejected at that same level over and over again, and it kept knocking on that door for so long that it now just blasted right through that door like, I'm home. Hi, honey. So that's incredible that Ethereum is showing strength against Bitcoin, which it hasn't shown this whole cycle, basically, right? We haven't had this pump for Ethereum this whole cycle. It depends on how it closes. Here we had a 20% pump, right? This was a bigger pump, but the close right now will be 18.5. But this was in May 2024, right? So you can see that for basically never, we have Ethereum showing that much strength relatively to the rest of the market, right? Ethereum showing strength against the dollar, that's fine. But what's the use if Bitcoin goes up more? Now Ethereum is outperforming, right? And like I said, the cool thing is that if you look at this stochastic RSI on the weekly as well, it's kind of just getting started, man. And it's not a guarantee that it will go up. Like here, it also was just getting started, basically, but the pump wasn't that big, basically, right? But here, it needed the whole stochastic RSI for like weeks to go to the upside to get a pump of like 20%. Here we did it in 1 week, and the stochastic RSI is still at the beginning, telling me that this move is far from over, likely at least. So that's looking absolutely fantastic, actually, in my opinion. And what's also pretty funny is we looked a lot at altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, right? This alt season chart, basically. Up alt season, down Bitcoin season, sideways, no season. I don't know, right? And altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, best case scenario, what they're doing so far is finding a bottom, right? This is not a breakout. Altcoins are not outperforming Bitcoin. Yeah, with 5% this week. Well, whoop-de-doo, right? Last week it was -5, so it all balances out. So this is not an altcoin season. This is an Ethereum run. However, what's interesting though, same for altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, the weekly stochastic momentum is really confirmed to the upside right now. It's really confirmed to the upside. Last time that happened, it didn't look like much, but this was the December run, right? Altcoins just gained steam against Bitcoin, but Bitcoin was just going up a lot as well. So altcoins 5x all over the place, right? Time before that was here. That was basically the bear market low until the first mid-cycle top, basically. So these were the first and only two real altcoin legs in this market cycle. And this is the third one, but this is just really the beginning of it. So we're looking at this chart a lot. And yeah, this is beautiful. And again, this is the confirmation. If you're bullish on the Bitcoin dominance, just don't anymore, right? You were right for a long time. But if you're not jumping off of that train right now, then what are you doing? Really, what are you doing? You see how fast it can go, right? This 2-day move can already take you back for months, right? But a chart that we looked at a couple times is others, Ethereum. How are altcoins doing against Ethereum? And what we saw is that altcoins were outperforming ETH like crazy, right? And not because altcoins were performing well, but Ethereum was underperforming. And what do we see right now? We see a fat rejection exactly at that point, right? That's beautiful. This is the confirmation that all this charting, all this cycle behavior is so freaking intact We've been looking at the perfect right things right now. And this is what we should stick on to, right? Because this works so beautiful, right? Altcoins were outperforming ETH. Great. Last time this happened and they were this high, and the only time in full crypto history, as far as this chart shows, right, until 2017 at least, right, probably because that's where Ethereum came into the game. But there you see, the only time we were this high was in April 2021. Well, isn't that a 4-year cycle kind of coincidence? Right? So, therefore, I was saying like, hey guys, we have never seen so much opportunity combined with confirmation. And that's what you want, right? Low prices with charts that are telling you like, guys, we have done this before, like get in. And now a relatively small move has happened. And this is already what we're seeing. Ethereum going from $1,300 to $2,500 in a month. Ethereum 2xing almost, right? That's insane. And I like seeing this because at a certain point, altcoins on their Ethereum pair will be low enough because Ethereum goes up harder. Then when altcoins start to outperform Ethereum again, that's where the party is getting started. Now, why am I saying again, like, hey, this is really nothing yet? If you look at the amount of money that's in crypto, right? I mean, USDT is getting deployed. You see that it's going down right there. Together with USDC, it's getting deployed, right? It's getting deployed into the market. But it's not that this is all going up because there are some stables getting deployed. The total crypto market is going up again. We are above the 2021 highs again, right? Above, we broke this resistance. Like, if you invert this chart, this is not a chart that I would buy if this was an altcoin, right? Finds a low, bounces, breaks it, new low, bounces, support, cool, break it, dead cat bounce, come break it again. Crazy, right? So there's new money being deployed into the market. But where's all that money sitting right now? This chart shows the dominance for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stables. And you get this. Look how high this is sitting and what a distributive pattern this is, right? Accumulation phase, uptrend, distribution phase. And what comes after the distribution phase? Like we see in the last cycle, downtrend. And this downtrend means nothing else than money flowing out of Bitcoin, out of Ethereum, and out of stables. So what's left? Altcoins, right? So it's by any means not an alt season what we are seeing right now. I see a lot of people talk about it on Twitter, right? Alt season. No, it's not an alt season. Not at all, right? This is up hard, right? We are at the bottom of alt season. That's where you want to get in, right? If this goes down, then it means that the money from the crypto market mostly is getting deployed into altcoins. And you cannot look at a chart like this and be like, oh, but that can never go down. Like, that's not how it works, right? Of course it will go down. Money rotates. Money rotates. So this is all looking extremely good because we had so many obvious charts that we spoke about lately, and it's now all getting confirmed. We spoke about this weekly stochastic RSI, like, guys, it's turning around, and look what happens with the smallest uptick. Ethereum dominance already like saying like, hey, previous bottom, this is the place, let's go, right? That's crazy. But again, if you compare to where we can go, yeah, this move is nothing yet. The most money is still sitting in the Bitcoin. In Bitcoin, the Bitcoin dominance isn't down hard, but it is flashing red, right? It is flashing red right now. So this is looking really good. The altcoin market as well. Again, you know, the pattern is this is COVID kind. It's like previous cycle top, or 2017 top, previous cycle top, going down into the bear market, going down into the bear market, finding a bottom, right? Finding a bottom. First mid-cycle rally, 60% dump, 60% dump. New pump, going back into the bull market, getting some bad news, kind of, black swanish, COVID in that case, right? Going down 70%. Here, getting bad news, tariffs, going down 60%, right? Tariffs are not that bad as COVID. I hope we all agree on that, right? And then recovery, because, hey, higher low, right? Higher low compared to this low. And that was the moment where we stepped into the bull market. This is so freaking like weirdly the same. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And the cool thing is, again, I heard a lot of people say we need QT to end for all of this to happen. And maybe they're right. Probably they're right for the real move. But it does show we do not need QT in order to make a fuck ton of money in crypto anyway. Or we don't need QT to end in order to make a fuck ton in crypto anyway, right? Because again, at this level right here, beginning of April, people were so extremely bearish. It was over. It's different. Alts are not coming back. We're going way lower. Yada, yada, yada. And I remember getting a lot of shit for saying that I was bullish at that point. Like, people were mad. People were really mad, right? But look what happened. There are some coins that are already, this is a high cap, right? This is not a shit coin or whatever, the style. It's up 2.5x, right? And I know, like, oh, it's just 2.5x. But bro, if you just bought when others were fearful, you would have at least one transaction that's in massive profit already, right? And this goes for a lot of alts. They still, I mean, if you look at this chart, of course you could say like, oh, there's nothing yet. And for a lot of coins, it is nothing yet. And that's a good thing indeed. One, you had a very obvious opportunity. You could have pulled a 2x out of a lot of alts. And 3, it indeed confirms like, hey, they have still a long way to go, right? A long, long, long way to go. So if you ask me, man, this is all looking really, really, really fine. And I don't even know what to title this whole video. Like, hey, just the beginning. Like, or I took my profits because I sold a little bit of ETH, right? As you may know, I use the GTFO platform, and I was just filling in my do I have it here? Where are you? And I was filling in. Oh, it's not loaded. Anyway, my average ETH price was 1,300, and I figured like, hey, 2,400 was my point of taking profits. I filled it in a long time ago. Today it flashed, so I sold 25% of my ETH, right? But like, man, I mean, that's it. There's a lot more to come, 100%. There's a lot more to come. And there are so many charts that I can go over right now that confirm everything that we spoke about. And it all comes actually down to at lows, when the charts are saying, hey, this happened before, don't be the one that says this time is different. You'll see how badly that turns out once again, right? Bitcoin dominance without stable coins. I mean, I look at this chart. And purely this chart wise, I cannot say like, whoa, this is it. Because then this was it. This was it. This was it. This was it. But it's if you combine everything, right? All the charts, the sentiment. 3 things in this chart. We have the weekly stochastic RSI being more overbought than what it ever has been, basically. And it is pointing down, right? On the weekly, not on the 4-hour, the daily, whatever, the weekly. That equals big moves. Right? And that's pointing down. And it happens to be where it got rejected in the last cycle as well before we went into alt season. Right? So at least keep into consideration that that could happen again, because so far it is playing out like that. Right? Don't be like it's not gonna happen, because it's happening in front of you. And sometimes people realize it a little bit too late. Others dominance, altcoin dominance, alt season basically. Also, if this goes up, alt season. If it goes down, Bitcoin season. Double bottom, stochastic RSI on the weekly pointing upwards. That's a really healthy sign, right? And even if we just go back here, which isn't an alt season by any means, man, if Bitcoin is sitting at 100K, then your altcoins are going to fly, right? Then they're really going to fly. So it all looks incredible. And again, I do think that there will be a point around this level where we do see a healthy correction. But don't assume that it's going to be too big of a dump. It might be, but I don't know. I doubt it. Like, I also ask myself, like, okay, who's going to sell it then? Because if you look at retail, yeah, what retail, right? There are no people here to sell. There are more people here or not here to potentially buy than people to sell, right? This is basically at the bottom. So you might be like, well, these institutions, I get it. But I don't think that these institutions are averaging their ETH entry at around 2K, maybe a little bit at 17, at 13, and they bought earlier as well, to again sell it at 2,300. Like, that's, I think, not what they're in for, right? They can do that with anything, but no. So I do wonder, like, will this correction be like that huge? I don't know. So, but yeah, man, goddamn. I mean, it's looking really healthy out there. And if you are in the Alpha Factory, there's a link down below. KDOP is posting so much macro-related stuff and also showing that M2 chart that Bitcoin is following. And if you listen to that and now see Bitcoin, you'll be like, what a surprise. When 150K, right? That's kind of what it's saying. And that could happen, man. That could definitely happen, and maybe sooner than you think, right? I mean, here it went from 50K to 110K before you knew it, right? So give it time. Be bullish at the right times and be bearish at the right times, right? And I tweeted something because I like to rage bait a little bit on Twitter every now and then, but if you look at this, I don't want to be like a dick or anything, but know who to listen to, okay? I said shout out to Crypto Banter, blah, 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 which is all purely sarcastic, of course. If you look at these fear, like, oh, they're going to capitulate, it's going to capitulate soon and prepare for more downwards moves and another dump incoming. They posted all these videos at the fucking bottom, right? And now they're creating videos all in altcoins. Fast go buy at the top of this pump. I'd be like, are you like doing this on purpose? I hope you're doing this on purpose to fuck around with your viewers to make money, because the alternative would be that you absolutely like are fully Jim Cramering this whole thing, and you should not do that on YouTube, man. But really, guys, know who to listen to, right? And it's maybe best to sometimes listen to nobody, right? Just very simply, if you want a couple things that you should look at and nothing more, I would say look at the fear and greed, buy when it's low and sell when it's high. And if you are in altcoins, compare it to Bitcoin, man. Bitcoin, we'll know that Bitcoin is doing fine, and then that although the corrections and the bear markets eventually will always do fine, right? So look how alts are looking against Bitcoin. And this is showing like, hey, yes, it's been in a downtrend, definitely. Compare the seasonality, compare how the Bitcoin dominance is flashing harder than ever. Compare how extremely oversold this is on the bigger time frames. If you even look at Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair on the monthly time frame, it's sitting at levels where it was in September 2019. That was the absolute bottom, right? And it happens to be somewhat of a double bottom right here. If you look at Ethereum on its dollar pair, sitting lower than what it has been since August 2022, was the bottom when it came to the dollar, right? It's in the long term, I feel like, man, be positioned right in the right way, right? Don't let your emotions trade. Again, you can use GTFO for all of this, right? You can, it's free, right? I would say it's free, and just use it, man. Fill in the coins that you have, where you bought it, where you want to sell it, right? And it creates a plan for you so you can dollar cost out. And just look at this whenever it's flashing, like, hey, I was supposed to sell here. Let's sell, right? Get your emotions out. It's not going to help you in any way. And you will do fine. Again, I sold 25% of my ETH. Not because I think that ETH cannot go up any further. But again, short-term corrections could happen. Plus, my average is 1,300. And I feel like, man, it's now 2,300. I feel comfortable selling a quarter of that, right? If it goes up more, I'm completely fine. But if it now goes down, I can choose if I want to buy again or not, right? Depending on how everything looks by then. So I want to leave it here. Definitely do yourself a favor. I don't want to but do yourself a favor. Check out the Alpha Factory in the description or in the pinned comment, wap.com/Alpha Factory. Check it out. We have so many charts in there. You can do one-on-one calls with me every once a month or so. So I just look with you, talk to you, chat, video call, whatever you want. Just like, okay, what's your plan? How it's looking right now, right? What's your goal? What's your biggest mistake? So I can maybe give you a little insight on how to do it a little different maybe, right? But we have private sales. And I know it sounds like private sales. In a bull market, that is nice, right? Exclusive videos in there that give you a whole different insight. I'm gonna show you my portfolio. You can follow that exactly. It's so worth it if you're there. The community members are so happy and they're so smart. So yeah, consider joining. For now, I would say biggest piece of advice that I can give you, don't FOMO into this pump, right? You had time to get in. That was an obvious one, right? We're now way higher on some assets. Enjoy these profits if you have them. If you don't have them, don't FOMO into the pump, because then in the next leg, it's going to be even way harder to be in these profits, okay? So don't be exit liquidity for people like me who just sold some ETH. Don't be the one says like, oh, I will buy it $1,000 more expensive than what it was last month, right? Like, these are the opportunities. This is not an opportunity to buy, right? For the long term, maybe, but hey, you know what I mean. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope it's going to be a positive and happy day for you. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. I'll see you in the next one.